Well, in 1977, the world was introduced to the most powerful weapon ever created. It was described as a super weapon armed with a planet-destroying super laser powered by kyber crystals. And had it not been for the bravery of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and a Wookiee named Chewbacca, we would not know intergalactic peace as we do. So yes, I'm talking about Star Wars. I'm talking about the Death Star, a weapon unlike anything we had ever seen before, designed with the power to destroy entire planets. And I know I'm in D.C. and there are people in here who are like, if there was a weapon built in 1977 that could destroy the world, I would know about it. So you were on to me from the beginning that this was not real. So I don't want to talk to you about Star Wars this morning, but I do want us to consider is this question. If you were to design a machine with the power to destroy a church community, not physically wipe it out, but to tear apart and divide a community of the people of God, what would you design? What has the power to pull apart a community of people? In the book of 3 John, we are introduced to a community-destroying power. And John calls it the philoprotos. Philoprotos. We're introduced to it in verse 9. And the structure of 3 John is very simple. There's kind of three major movements, and they're the three paragraphs, and they all start with the same word. Beloved in verse 2, beloved in verse 5, beloved in verse 11. Very uplifting letter. But then in verse 9, we get this disruption in the beloveds. It's like this awkward interruption. And we're interrupted by the philoprotos. So I'm gonna read it for us. It says, I've written something to the church, but Diotrephes, who likes to put himself first. That phrase right there is one word in Greek, philoprotevo, the philoprotos. So he does not acknowledge our authority. So if I come, I will bring up what he is doing. Talking wicked nonsense against us, and not content with that, he refuses to welcome the brothers and also stops those who want to and puts them out of the church. Philoprotos. He likes to put himself first, the community destroying weapon. It's one word in Greek, that whole phrase, philoprotevo. It's a combination of two words. Philos, which means friend, comes from the word philia, which is friendship love, or Philadelphia, brotherly love, the city that embodies friendship so much. And then the second word is the word protos, and it's the word first or foremost. So it literally means to get friendly with the idea of being first, to get comfortable with the idea of being the greatest, being foremost among the leaders. That Diotrephes has been flirting with the idea of being the hero of his community, of being foremost among his church community. That the weapon being used to divide the church in 3 John is a love for being great, being the best. So I want us for a minute to step in together into 3 John and just get a picture of what's happening in this community, what's happening in this church. That you have this man in the church who he's doing three things motivated by his love for being first. There's three visible activities that he's doing. So if you step into 3 John with me, you're gonna see that the first thing he's doing is he's not acknowledging the leadership of his church. That's his first act, is he doesn't trust the leadership. He doesn't acknowledge the structures they have. He's not acknowledging the leadership. But he doesn't just stop there. It's not just like a personal distrust. We'll just let it play out. No, he takes it another step. He's bad-mouthing the leadership. He doesn't acknowledge them as leaders, and then he's going behind their backs and bad-mouthing them. It says he's talking wicked nonsense. That word nonsense, other places in the New Testament, it's the same word used for gossip. And we all understand how gossip works. Like if gossip was simply just lies, it wouldn't work. None of us would believe it, right? But what is gossip? It's I take a little bit of truth about you, and then I take some emotional topic, some felt need that people would react to. I combine those things, and then I build a story based off assumptions in order to try to trick people into believing what I want them to believe. So a little bit of truth, kind of an emotional felt need, and then a story based on assumptions that may or may not be true. And gossip, it's confusing. It's deceptive, it's crafty, but it's believable. And then when you're listening to it, you're like, I know that's true. I feel that way, but I don't know about all this other stuff. So is that because that's true? Is that true because I feel this? Is this true? It's confusing to the listener. It's hard to see through it. Gossip, he's not acknowledging the leadership in the church, and he's bad-mouthing the leadership in the church. But he also doesn't stop there. The next thing he does is he's stopping people from taking part in ministry. That in the early church, God gave his disciples a mission. He said, I want you to be my witnesses to the ends of the earth. So different individuals would get together and they would go out to take the name of Jesus to the ends of the earth. So he says that there's certain people who have gone out for the sake of the name, and you should receive those people. So these are missionaries going out for the sake of Jesus, and they would come to a town, and the church would welcome them in and host them and feed them and then send them on their way. But Diotrephes, for some reason, doesn't agree with this policy. So he's putting a stop to it. He's keeping people from ministry. So his love for being first is rendering the ministry of Jesus ineffective in his church community. He's keeping his church from ministry. And you go, why is he doing all this? Why is he disregarding leadership? Why is he bad-mouthing the leaders? Why is he dividing people and keep making them choose between him or John and like keeping people from being a part of the ministry of the church? Like, why is this guy doing this? It's so confusing. And what John says is that the core of it, what it all comes back to, is philoprotos, this weapon that can divide the church. He's been flirting with the idea of being the best, of being first, of being important. This guy, he's probably competent. He's probably charismatic. He obviously has influence. So when he gets complimented, he doesn't just let the compliment stay. He takes the compliment out to dinner and he goes home with it. And he just like, oh, like when I led that thing, it was so good. Tell me more, right? Oh, when I led that meeting, you liked it better than my boss? Oh yeah, me too, right? Maybe I would be better than my boss, right? Like you see, he's receiving compliments because he's competent, he's charismatic, people like him, but then he's flirting with those compliments, letting them boost his ego. Maybe I could be first. And we do this, right? We do this at work. We love when we get complimented, but then it starts to change, right? It starts to go, yeah, but like you kind of do it better than them. I kind of like how you lead those things better than them. Like you're kind of better at this than they are. And it goes from you're good at this to you're better. And you go, man, why am I not getting promoted? I'm more competent than my boss, right? We get friendly with the idea of being first. His desire to be seen as a leader in the community has driven him to disregard the actual leadership in the community and to divide the community. So it's not doctrinal disagreements that are dividing the church, it's personal ambition. And that's often the case. When you look over church history, we think, oh, it's just all these different doctrines. It's like, it can start there, but it's often not doctrinal disagreements that divide the church. It's personal ambition. It's like Lord of the Rings. What splits up the fellowship, the epic fellowship of the rings? What breaks them apart? Is it a debate over a disagreement about Middle-earth lore? No. Is it a raiding parade of orcs attacking them? No, what is it? It's the ring whispering its voice of power and allure to Boromir's heart. If you just took the ring, you could defeat Sauron. Gondor could be great. You could be the hero of Middle-earth. You could be the foremost among men. What divides the fellowship? It's the whisperings of power. You could be first. You could be the best. You could be the greatest. And that self-seeking ambition breaks apart the greatest fellowship in literature ever. So it's not just happening in the church. Its ambition can break apart your friendships. It can break apart your families. It can destroy your workplaces. You are all familiar with how selfish ambition can create a culture of gossip and backstabbing in a workplace. Simon Sinek wrote a book called Leaders Eat Last, and in it he says that in the military we give medals for people who sacrifice themselves for others' gain. But in business, we give bonuses to people who sacrifice others so that they may gain. And at work, we wonder, are we all teammates working towards the same goal, or are we competition working towards the same promotion? And it doesn't feel safe. Martin Luther King Jr. talks about this idea of the philoprotos in his sermon, Drum Major Instinct, in 1968. He says, there is deep down within all of us an instinct, a kind of drum major instinct. a desire to be out in front, a desire to lead the parade, a desire to be first. And it is something that runs the gamut of life. We all have the drum major instinct. We all want to be important, to surpass others and to achieve distinction, to lead the parade. It's not just Diotrephes. It's not just out there in our coworkers. It's in here. It's in us. It's in me. We all have the philoprotos calling to us. You could be the best. You could be the greatest. You could be the first. We all have the desire to be seen as important and to be first. So what I want to do today is I want to explore this idea, this selfish ambition idea, but I don't just want to explore it in others. I don't just want to explore it out there. Like as I talk about it, you probably go, oh yeah, that reminds me of that one coworker. They need to hear this. You know, you're like, oh, I'm going to send this to so-and-so because they need to hear it, right? That's not what I want to do. What I want to do is I want us all to put our own hearts on the operating table before God, because this is in all of us. We all compete with this selfish ambition. And I want us to evaluate our hearts. Where in our life is this destroying my community? Is it in friendships? Is it in family? Is it at my workplace? Is it in the church? Where in my life am I listening to the flirtatious voice of my achievements and my accomplishments and my desire to be first, that I need to cut it off? That's what I want to do today. And you may go, Landon, why are you talking about ambition? This is DC. Why do you laugh? This is the city of public service. People move here to serve their countries, not to be first, to serve. Give this talk in New York, LA, selfish people. But isn't it funny how a city built on public service can so quickly become a city built on power, promotion, and prestige? You get a city full of valedictorians, team captains, organizational presidents. You get a city full of winners, people who know how to be first, know how to be out in front, know how to lead and how to have an impact, and they start flirting with their greatness, flirting with the idea of being first. Think of what I could do if I just got that promotion. Think of the impact I could have if I just had a little more influence, a little more power. I could be foremost among my peers. And over time, what happened? Division. Why are politics so divided? So we've been flirting with this idea of being first. Prestige, promotion, power. So how do you fight the sin of self-seeking ambition? That is the question. How do you handle the voice whispering to your heart that you could be first? In 3 John, the most repeated word, I don't know if you picked up on it, but the most repeated word is the word truth, 7 times. Second most repeated word is the word love or beloved, 6 times. The way you fight self-seeking ambition is with the truth that you are loved. It's an insecurity issue, and you gotta fight it. You will find power to push back against personal ambition when you position yourself in the love of God. We see it in 3 John. How does John structure his letter? 3 times, every paragraph, beloved, beloved, beloved. There's a guy in the church who loves to be first and is destroying the community. And John's emphasis to Gaius is, you are loved, you are loved, you are loved. You are secure in your place before God. Don't worry about him. You're loved, you're loved, you're loved. You fight the sin of self-seeking ambition by immersing yourself in the truth about God. I won't preach it. How do you know you're loved by God? Ben preached it last week. Phenomenal sermon. How do you know you're loved by God? Because the evidences of love is that love sins, love sacrifices, and love stays. And the Father sent his Son, and the Son sacrificed his life, and the Spirit stays. So you know that you are loved by God because God sent for you, he sacrificed for you, and he stays with you. The quickest way, if you want to disarm self-seeking ambition in your heart, is to immerse yourself in the truth about God, which leads us to our first point, our first beloved in verse 2. If you look at verse 2 with me, beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul. For I rejoiced greatly when the brothers came and testified to your truth, as indeed you are walking in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. So resting in your identity as beloved, the first step to disarming the voice of self-seeking ambition is to immerse yourself in the truth, to walk in the truth, get to know the truth about God. What does God have to say is true about being first and greatest? Anybody know? What does Jesus say about being first? What does he say about being the greatest? Mark 9, his disciples are arguing about which one of them is the greatest, which is just a funny thought. They're off to the side, Jesus' disciples, and they're playing the game. Like, let's just imagine something happened to Jesus and he couldn't lead us anymore. Like, who do y'all think you would be the leader? Like, do you think it's me, right? It's like, would y'all want me to lead? Right, they're arguing about which one of us is the greatest, which one of us would be first. And what does Jesus say to them? Mark 9:35, if anyone would be first, he must be last of all and servant of all. You wanna be first, be last. And he took a child and put him in the midst, an object lesson. This is what first looks like. And then a chapter later, James and John come up to Jesus. They're still just not getting it. They're a little hard-headed. They come up to Jesus and they're like, look, hey, whenever you ascend to the throne, can we be at your right hand and your left hand? We wanna be great. And this is what he says to him. Whoever would be great among you must be servant of all. Whoever would be first among you must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, to give his life as a ransom for many. You wanna be the greatest? What's the truth about greatness? Service. What's the truth about being first? Being last. Jesus is radically redefining what it means to be first. He's redefining how to be goated in our culture. You don't need position, you don't need title, you don't need promotion. Anyone can be great if they're willing to serve, anybody. You see, the world has a way of ranking people that God doesn't use. Greatness is not measured by the number of followers. God measures it by the number of feet you wash. Not your position, not your promotion, but your posture when you go to work will determine your greatness. That will determine your place. How do you walk in to serve people when you show up to church? How do you walk in to serve people when you come home to your family? If you want to fight selfish ambition, you have to know what it truly means to be first, but you also have to walk in it. He says walking in the truth. You can't just know the truth, you've got to live it. That your belief needs to equal your behavior. Your confession needs to equal your conduct. What does it mean to be walking in the truth? It means to live a life of integrity. What is integrity? If I took an arrow and aimed it at your actions and shot it, would it also go through your beliefs and your words? That you should have a straight line running through what you believe, what you say, and what you do. There's nothing crooked in you. You have integrity. Your beliefs, your words, and your actions are all in line. That's what it looks like to walk in the truth. There's no deception. So what do you do when Diotrephes is spreading lies, spreading gossip? What do you do? At your workplace, in the church, do you create more noise in the opposite direction? Do you try to drown it out? No. John just says, hey, continue to walk in the truth. Walk in the truth. And then you go, okay, but that's like generic, that's broad. How do I actually do that in my job, in my family, in my role, in this church? What does it look like to actually walk in the truth? If you don't know how, a great place to start is by partnering with those who are already doing it. That's the second beloved. Verse 5. Beloved, it is a faithful thing you do in all your efforts for these brothers, strangers as they are, who testify to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their journey in a manner worthy of God. They've gone out for the sake of the name, accepting nothing from the Gentiles. Therefore, we ought to support people like these, that we may be fellow workers for the truth. Resting in your identity as beloved, the next step to disarming self-seeking ambition is to partner with others in ministry. Support people like this, fellow workers for the truth. If you say, I wanna walk in the truth, but I don't know how to do it, then look around you. Who is a peer, a mentor, a leader who you see, it looks like they're walking in the truth. Partner with them, get alongside them, come along and support of them. So in your career, are there people ahead of you who have been in similar rooms that you've been in similar situations, dealing with similar problems, who you see their life and you go, man, that is a person walking in the truth? Then go get coffee with that person. Just get around them, try to partner with them. Are there peers at your workplace that are trying to live for Jesus that maybe you just know, not much, but they go to church, I think? Go ask them more, get around them. How can we partner together? Because I don't quite know how to do it. Are you a young mom going, I don't know how to be a mom? Look for an older mom in the church or an older mom in your life that you go, man, what they're creating in their family is full of truth and life, and partner with them. That's the first step. Partner with those who are walking in the truth. But that word support, we should support people like this. It's not just support like we should like let them like lean on us. It's support like we should lift up. It's the word hyperlambano. So whenever I was at Raina and Trey's wedding a couple weeks ago, and the groomsmen at one point during the dance, they scooped up Raina, the bride, and they hyperlambanoed her up into the air, lifted her up for all to see as Dancing Queen played behind us. Hyperlambano. It is easy in a situation like 3 John for Diotrephes to take the spotlight, to steal the show of the church. All the news in the church is his gossip. All the news in the church is his disregard for leadership. It's easy for someone like that to become the main story of what's happening in the church. So what we need to do is we need to find people who are walking faithfully in the truth, and we need to lift them up for people to see. We need to share their stories so that we as a church can have examples to follow, so that Jesus can be the main story. That's why we do things like Jesus stories in the rally. That's why we do giving moments where we can get guys like Eli and go, man, we're gonna lift up people who are examples of the faith for our church to see. I love a couple weeks ago, Kobe Cotton from Dude Perfect was up here. And that's what we were doing. We were lifting up somebody who's walking in the truth in a way that's different than what maybe Ben does, or I do, or Jacob, or others as pastors. We were lifting someone up who's walking in the truth as someone who is in a business, in the business world, and saying, hey, here's somebody to let's celebrate what God is doing as they walk in the truth in a very unique way. And our students loved it. The teens were freaking out, and they were totally not cool. It was like, guys, play it cool, man. They were like running down the aisles looking for pens and paper. And it was like, just walk, dude, just walk. Like, it's all right. Like, hey, just be cool. Like, hey, picture. They didn't know how to do it. They were just like freaking out, Dude, perfect. It was awesome. So we lift people up so that we can have examples to follow. So Love DC this summer is an example of why we do Love DC. So Love DC, if you don't know what it is, we have like a whole week of service across the city where we partner with tons of organizations, and hundreds of us go out and serve DC in different capacities. We do not do that because Tony, our local engagement pastor, thinks that, man, it's just so fun to work 24-hour days for like 3 weeks to plan this massive serve project all at once. That's not why we do it. We do it because it's an opportunity. Like, it'd be easier to spread it out over the year. We do it because we want to take a week where we're going to lift up organizations in our city who are walking in the truth, working for the truth in our city in ways that maybe we don't quite know how, because we just don't know how. We want to partner with those organizations. We want to lift them up and say, here are organizations serving our city. Go partner with them. If you go, I want to serve my city, I'm new to DC, I don't know how. Here's all these organizations. Go get involved with them. Go work with them. Here's a day where you can come alongside them and work with them and with the church. And then maybe after that, you want to do more. That's why we do that. So the first step to disarming the sin of self-seeking ambition is to immerse yourself in the truth of God. The second is to partner with and lift up those who work for the truth. And the third is to then imitate them. Imitate them, those who do good. This is verse 11. Beloved, do not imitate evil, but imitate good. Whoever does good is from God. Whoever does evil has not seen God. Demetrius has received a good testimony from everyone and from the truth itself. We also add our testimony. How do we fight the sin of self-seeking ambition? Resting in the love of God, we imitate those who do good. We are by nature imitators. I mean, this is the classic, like the kids that just imitate their parents, look like their parents, right? Whenever I first started preaching, I was young, I was 23, just out of college, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like a mirror image of Ben. Like, friends would send me screenshots of him preaching and me preaching, and it'd be like the same photo. It'd be like him like doing this, and I'd be doing this. Be him, he's like leaning on the table, and you know what I mean? And I just didn't know. I was young, I was little. I was like, I want to walk in the truth, but I don't know how. So what did I do? I imitated the guy that I'd seen doing it. And at first it bothered me because people would come up to me after and be like, that was so great, man. You just sounded like Ben, haha. And it like bothered me because I was like, I want to be myself. But over time, I began to become really proud of it. Like after a while, when people would come up to me and be like, man, that was great. Like, have you ever heard of Ben Stewart? Like, it reminded me of that. I wouldn't like flinch. I would be like, man, yeah, this guy's my mentor. Like I became proud to be in line with him. Like people come up and be like, oh, y'all do that little pray thing where it's like, pray for yourself, pray for me. It's like, why do you do that? And I'm like, because Ben did it. And he's like, why does he do it? And I'm like, I don't know, but I like it. And I'm glad that I have someone like him to imitate. And over time, just like a child that grows up, they begin to become more themselves, right? Like they don't always look like their parents. They don't keep talking like them, doing things like them. It's like over time, I'll become more of myself up here. But I'll be so grateful for the little bit of those parts of me that are still influenced and impacted by him. As a church, we want to learn and grow in being followers of Jesus. How do we do it? By imitation. Lifting up those who are walking in the truth so that we can imitate those walking in the truth. So in 3 John, Diotrephes is setting a bad example for the church. And John doesn't want the church to follow that example. So what does he do? He highlights a third character, Demetrius. And we don't know much about Demetrius. He probably was the messenger carrying the letter. So he's like, hey, I don't want y'all following this example. Let me lift up Demetrius, bring him to y'all, so you'll have a good example to imitate. Imitate this guy. What are the 3 things he says about Demetrius that makes him a safe example to imitate? He has a good reputation from everyone. There's evidence of truth in his life, and the leadership advocates for him. Good reputation, evidence of truth, leadership advocates for him. How do we know who we should imitate? Who's safe, who's not? Who can I follow? Who should I not follow? How do we know? The first thing is, do they have a good reputation? Are they spoken well of in general? Like Eli, that's like, man, just when your name comes up around strangers who just kind of know you, it's very positive. Like he's well spoken of. It doesn't mean you're mistake free. You might have some major mistakes in your life, and people might speak bad about you for a while because of them. And that doesn't disqualify you from ever being a good example to follow. Think of Moses. Like Moses killed a guy. I don't know if y'all know that about Moses, but before he did the whole set people free thing, he just murdered an Egyptian that was picking on some Israelites. He thought, I'm gonna take matters in my own hands, and he killed a guy. And the next day, he's walking around the Israelites, there's a dispute, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go solve this, stick my nose in something that's not my business again, and that'll work again. And he goes to solve it, and what do? They go, are you gonna kill us like you killed that Egyptian? So he runs off into the wilderness for 40 years before he ever comes back. Moses messes up big time, bad reputation amongst the Israelites. But at the end of his life, what does it say about Moses? It's not a prophet that has arisen like him since, who knew God face to face. King David screws up royally with Bathsheba, Uriah. What does it say at the end of David's life? Man, he had a heart like God's, a heart after God. There's not a king like David. So you might have a mistake or two in your life where people have some bad things to say about you, but that doesn't disqualify you from ever having a good reputation, because the second thing is the evidence of your life over time. Is it point towards the truth? Does it point towards good? Do your works testify to the truth? What's the result of your life? That's the second thing. How do I know who to imitate? Do they have a good reputation in general? And then let me watch their works. And is truth come out in them? Will I see character? Over time, you'll see either good or bad come out of their life. And then their last thing is, do leadership, do mentors, do older, wiser people speak well of this person? Those are kind of the 3 safe things. It's like in dating. I'm sure this is in Ben's book. How do you know that he's safe to date? Does he have one of those 3? Does he have a good reputation? Have you seen good things in his life? Do older people speak well of him? Probably safe to go on a date. Got a good reputation, but you're not gonna marry him. It's you don't know enough. It's got a good reputation, but I need to see over time, is there evidence of truth playing out in his life? And then what do you do when you get to the end? You go, okay, I think I'm gonna marry this guy or girl. What do? You go, I gotta get him around mentors. I gotta get him around my parents. I gotta get him around older, wiser people to let them speak into our relationship so I can see, is this guy really legit? Is it safe for me? Who do we follow? Who do we imitate? Do they have a good reputation? If there's drama around their name, just press pause. You don't have to imitate them. Just because some people want to follow somebody, if you feel uncertain about it, you don't have to follow them. You don't have to love that person. It's you can, not love, but you know what I mean? You can wait, right? Wait and watch their life over time, see if it's safe. And then is there leadership? Is there some sort of authority? Is there some sort of wisdom speaking in saying, yeah, this person, we recognize them, not just their charisma or their competency, but their character is a safe person to imitate. So we all struggle with this problem of self-seeking ambition. What do we do about it? First thing, immerse yourself in the truth about God's love for you and then live out that truth. Second thing, how do we start? Start by partnering with people and lifting up people who are workers for the truth. Third thing, who do we lift up and imitate? Those who have a good reputation, evidence of truth in their life, and testify and have been testified by those in authority. You don't want to go to dinner with the flattering voice of greatness in your head. So I'm going to end for the morning just opening up my heart a little bit and saying, man, how does this play out in my life? And the point of it hopefully will be that maybe it'll help you think about how this might be playing out in your life. So for me, I love the Word of God. I love teaching it. I love preaching it. And whenever I started years ago, I just realized, man, I like being up here. I like doing this. Like, this is fun for me to get to open up the Bible and try to explain it. So I spent a lot of time with God being like, God, I just want to be the best at this that I can be. Like, I want to be great at this. And I want it to be helpful to people, and I want it to be glorifying to you, and I want it to be true. So I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna work hard at it. And it felt so pure. It was like, I just wanna be the best I can be at this. But then I would get outside the confines of that like individual moment with God, and I would see other guys, other girls doing the same thing. And all of a sudden it went from, I wanna be the best at this to, I wanna be better than them. I wanna be better than him. And the waters get murky in the heart of like, oh man, am I doing this because I want to serve people and glorify God and just be as best as I can be? Or am I doing this because I want to be recognized as the best? I want to be recognized as first. So here at Passion DC, we have a team of guys who, when Ben's out of town or needs a break, will preach in his place. So guys like Jacob, Thomas, sometimes John, incredible guys. But you can see how that philoprotos could distort my heart and could make me say, I gotta be better than those guys. I wanna be recognized by y'all as first and foremost. And what I could do is I could start to disregard their leadership, go behind their backs and badmouth them, talk about them bad ways, and I could stop some of y'all from being a part of their ministries. And it would keep our church from doing effective ministry. And you'd be like, but why did I do it? Where did it all start? I just flirted with that voice that I could be first, I could be the best. That it went from a compliment about, hey, that was a really great sermon, to, yeah, but was it better than his? Right? I think I could be better. I think I could be the best. And you can see how that could destroy and divide our church and render us ineffective in ministry simply because I played around with the idea of being first. But what's crazy in this letter is that at the end of it, it ends in a weird way that no other letter in the Bible ends. It says, the friends greet you, greet the friends, each by name. You're like, what's going on with that? And in English, it's like, whatever, weird. See you, friends, I don't know. But when you read it in the Greek, that word friend, it's philos. And you realize, hey, the philos greet you. There's another guy in this church, he's a philos protovo. He's a friend with being first, and that's kept him from being our friend. So if I no longer need to be first, if I can cut off the philoprotevo voice in my head, then I'm free to be Thomas and Jacob's friend. Just their friend. Support them, celebrate them, cheer them on. But it all comes down to that battle in the heart. Can I get rid of that? Or can I not? So I do want to say, man, I love watching Jacob preach. It's fun for me to see him teach the scripture. He's such a phenomenal teacher of the way he cares for the word of God and wants to explain it to our church is so helpful. And more than that, I love watching him live his life. My wife and I talk about him and his wife and the way they love one another, love their community, and love their kids. And I'm like, this guy is an example of godliness that we should imitate. Like he should get more opportunities to do this. And Thomas, I benefit when he preaches. I'm like, I hear Thomas is preaching. I'm like, let's go. Like, I want to hear it. And we all went to the seminary called DTS, and they always have like professors and pastors go preach at it. But once a year, they ask a student to preach at it. And you know who they asked this year? Thomas Barr. Yeah. All the way in Dallas. We're like, well, we will pay for you to fly to Dallas to preach at our student chapel, the one student this year. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Go, yes, please, right? Like when I free myself from the need to be first, I become free to just be their friend and just root for them and partner with them and see the effectiveness of the ministry of Jesus expand in our city and in our church. And I think that's really beautiful if we can do that together with one another, but also in our workplaces. The whispers of greatness will speak to you of your accomplishments, of your charisma, of your competency. They will tell you all the reasons why you should be honored, why you should be promoted, and why you should be followed. And it will take your ambition for God and his glory and the goodness of others, and it'll turn it in on yourself to the detriment of others. John Stott, I want to close with this quote. He says, ambitions for self may be quite modest, enough to eat, to drink, and to wear, as in the Sermon on the Mount, is what he's talking about. Or they may be grandiose, a bigger house, a faster car, a higher salary, a wider reputation, more power. But whether they're modest or immodest, these are ambitions for myself, my comfort, my wealth, my status, my power. Ambitions for God, however, if they are to be worthy, can never be modest. There is something inherently inappropriate about cherishing small ambitions for God. How can we ever be content that he should acquire just a little more honor in the world? No. Once we are clear that God is king, then we long to see him crowned with glory and honor and accorded his true place, which is the supreme place. We become ambitious for the spread of his kingdom and righteousness everywhere. If Philoprotos is the Death Star that can destroy your community, then what is that little hole in it that if you, the fatal flaw in the design, that if you could shoot a couple missiles towards it, you'd blow up the Death Star? What's the fatal flaw in self-seeking ambition, in the whispers of being first? The fatal flaw in the design is that you have no chance of being first. It's all a lie. You'll never be first. You'll never be foremost. You'll never be greatest, no matter how hard you try to get there. Why? Because Jesus is king. Jesus is on the throne. He sits in the supreme place. Jesus is preeminent. Jesus is first, and no one else can be. So when you see other people rising up the ladder and you feel stuck, what are they rising to? The same position you have before God. Jesus is the only one who can be first, because though he was in the form of God, he didn't count equality with God a thing to be grasped. He emptied himself. He took on the form of a man, a servant. He who was the greatest in heaven became the least on earth. Servant of all. He became the first in humility, the first in service, the first in love, the first in generosity, the first to sacrifice, the first to die, the first to rise, the first to ascend to heaven, the right hand of God, the first to intercede on your behalf when condemnation comes against you, the first to help you in your weakness, and the first to give you victory over sin and death. Jesus Christ is preeminent. And if we as a church can position ourselves under the love of God, then we can be secure to lift up the name of Jesus, not our name, not our power, and definitely not the name of passion or ourselves. Let me pray.